Okay, so here we are, Sig Figs practice part 2 of 3. We're going to work on measuring with Sig Figs. Remember, the device itself determines how many digits you're going to have in your measurement. These big lines, down here, over here, and so forth, they stand for the whole number and the tenths. So this is 1.5, 1.6. These little lines, if the big ones stand for the tenths, the little lines must stand for the hundredths. So just make a little note in your brain. These guys stand for the hundredths. THS. So that means you're going to have definitely the hundreds in your answer, and then you're going to guess to the thousandths. So it's at least 1.61. This is 1.61. And this line up here is 1.62. So it's going to be at least 1.61. And then, here's the catch. You got to figure out how far in between the 0.61 and the 0.62 it is. And it looks to me like it's more than halfway. So I'm going to say it's 1.61, maybe 8. Maybe you thought it was 7. It's okay as long as you're in the ballpark. I wouldn't expect that you wrote down 1.610, 0 tenths of the way there, or if you wrote 1.612, that wouldn't make sense. But as long as you're in the ballpark, you're okay. So here we have 4 sig figs. Come in from the Pacific side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sig figs. Now let's look at this one. Each one of these lines is representing all the way out into the thousandths place. This line, 1.617. This one, 1.618. But it's in between the 1.618 and the 1.619. So I'm going to go and write down what I definitely know. I know it's at least 1.618. That's the thousandths, and I'm going to guess my 10 thousandths. So I'm going to guess how far in between these two lines it is. I'm going to say 2 tenths of the way. So I'll put a 2 there. So this number has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sig figs. Okay, we know a lot more information on that number than we do over here. Okay, some graduated cylinders. Over here we have whole numbers, 57, 58, so we know the ones. These little lines must be the tenths, because if these are the ones, going up by 1, this is its next smallest value, so these are the tenths. So make a little mental note. So those are the tenths. Now, since they are the tenths, my guess is going to be the hundredths. So I'm going to guess into the hundredths. So here we go, 57, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.6. So this is going to be at least 57.6, and it's not quite 57.7. So it's somewhere in between these two values. I'm going to say it's 57.60. It's 0 tenths of the way between this line and that line, between the 57.6 and the 57.7. So we got 4 sig figs here. Now let's look down here. We know the tens. This line and this line, they represent the tens, not tenths, tens. So that means I'm going to guess the ones. So I'm going to guess that this is 50, I don't know, maybe 6, 57. But that's all I know. I'm confident about the 50s. I know it's in the 50s. I know it's not in the 60s, and I know it's not in the 40s. I know it's in the 50s, so I'm writing this down with confidence. But I'm guessing, not quite sure, on that last number. Could be 57, could be 56. Okay. I have one confident number, one with some uncertainty. There's my 2 sig figs. Same device, but different scale, so it gives us different amounts of numbers, different information. The first one, we've got whole numbers. This represents the 5, the 6, the 7, so we're measuring ones. I'm going to look at this and say, maybe it's halfway in between the 145 and the 146. So I'm going to write what I know. I know it's at least 145. I write this down with confidence, and then I'm guessing it's around the 5 mark. So this value's got 4 sig figs. Now let's look at this one. These big lines, I should say, right here, and so forth, they represent the tenths. See the tenths going up? 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. So they represent the tenths, and then that means that these little lines in here represent the hundredths. So that means my answer's going to have 100 to be there. You get the idea. Alright, so these are the hundredths. Now that means my answer is going to be in the thousandths. So I'm going to write down what I know. I know it's at least this mark. That's going to be 145 145.5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 145.55. Okay, so down here is 145.5, and then this is going to tell me the hundredth spot. So that's how I got that number right there. Now I got to guess the thousandths. So how many tenths of the way is it between this value, 145.55, and 145.56? So how many tenths of the way is it between these two values? What do you think? Looks to me like it's right on the money. So I'm saying it's 0 tenths of the way there. So here's my final answer. I know with confidence it's 145.55. I've got lines to support that. What I don't entirely know is how many tenths of the way is between these two numbers. Looking at it, looks like it's pretty much on that line. Okay, so this has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sig figs. 2 more bits of information than we had over here. Now let's look at this one. This goes up by tens. So we know the tens. That makes these little lines the ones. So these guys are going to be the ones. And that means my guess is going to have the tenths in it. So here we go. I know it's at least 140, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know it's at least 145. Without a doubt, I have lines to support me. I know it's at least that. My guess is going to be in that 10th spot. I'm guessing it's 0 tenths of the way between here and there. So 0. Okay, 145.0. And that's only got 4 sig figs. Alright, rulers. Let's look at this top one here. This big line tells me the tenths, because there's the 0.8 line and there's the 0.9. So I can narrow down what those big ones stand for and what the little guys stand for. Big ones are the tenths, little guys are the hundredths. And that makes my guess in the thousandths. Okay, so here we go. This is 71.8, not, or 81, 71.82, 71.83, 0.84, 0.85, 0.86, 0.87. So here it is, 71.87. That's what it's at least. This is what it's not quite, 71.88. It's somewhere in between there. Now it looks to me like it's a little less than halfway, right? Isn't it kind of over here? Now if you write down 2 tenths of the way, 3 tenths of the way, 4 tenths of the way, that's fine, as long as you're in the ballpark. I wouldn't expect to see a 0 indicating it's right on the line. I probably wouldn't expect to see a 5 for halfway. I certainly wouldn't expect to see anything greater than 5. So I'm going to think maybe it's 3 tenths of the way. So I'm going to write down what I know. I know it's at least 71.87. Remember, what I know is the hundredths. My guess is going to be the thousandths. So I'm going to guess it's the 3 over there. Next one, I know less information. This number, as is, tells me 1 sig fig. This number over here gave me 3 sig figs. So I know that this is a better instrument in terms of precision. Alright, so we got 70 here. Here's 70, here's 80. I know it's in between somewhere. I'm confident that it's in the 70s, so I'll put my 7 down. And then I'm guessing over here, I don't know, I'm thinking it's maybe 1, 2, somewhere in that range. I'll go with 72. Okay, so I'm guessing it's about in the 2 spot between the 70s and the 80s. 2 sig figs, by the way. And the last one here, we've got 71 is this big mark, 72 is this other big mark. So that means to get from 71 to 72, we need to go by tenths. So these lines represent the tenths, and that means our guess is going to be in between. It's going to be the hundredths. Okay, so I'm going to write down everything I know up to the tenths. So 71.1, 71.2. It's somewhere in between there. Here's 71.1, looks a little more than halfway, so maybe 71.16. Okay. And there's my answer for that, and there's 4 sig figs.